Welcome to this very special celebration of amazing Latinas rising up in the world of HR. Today, we make history on a variety of fronts. Fig Factor Media, as a proud publisher of this amazing book that will depict the incredible stories of amazing Latinas rising up in the ranks of the HR industry. I'm very excited to have Fig Factor Media as a main publishing company that allows the voices of our community to be shared, our stories to be elevated, and moments like this to be created. Also, very special thanks to our technology partner, Allen Technology, that is making this event possible. Thank you so much to the incredible 24 marketing partners that have joined this incredible crusade of elevating the voices of those women that are creating magic with the most important and precious asset that any business can have, and that is the human capital. Guiding them, supporting them, elevating them, connecting them to the best version of themselves so that they can be the best employees, the best team members of an organization. That's not simple. And all these organizations, all these marketing partners have come together to say, yes, we are here to elevate all those amazing leaders that are making an impact, leaders that are thriving every single day, that are solving problems, that are creating connections in companies, and that are driving the backbone of America. Today, we celebrate all of you. We thank all of the audience members, almost the 700 people that registered to be part of this incredible event, this live transmission from people joining us all throughout the United States and the world. And today you're in for a treat. I am very proud as the publisher of this incredible book. My name is Jacqueline Camacho Ruiz, and I officially welcome you to this very special celebration. You're in for a treat. And to do this, I have to introduce you to the woman that had the vision of making this book come to life, the woman that has invested countless hours to make sure that the voices of all these amazing stories are heard and the stories are elevated in a way that hasn't been done before. This is a historic moment, a historic celebration that elevates them and elevates all of us with this incredible moment. So with that, I have had the pleasure of knowing Priscilla Wasso, the main author of Latinas Rising Up in HR and the visionary behind this project, for many years. And it wasn't until recently that we had an opportunity to reconnect. And let me tell you that that connection has created exponential magic, has created opportunities for her and for us to collaborate and to create magic and do what we're doing today and beyond. So I want to properly introduce this amazing, fierce leader that is changing the face of HR, that is elevating all of us today. Based in both Chicago and Miami, Priscilla Wasso thrives in leading human resource teams focused on all areas of the employee life cycle: talent acquisition, mobility, talent development, succession planning, performance management, employee relations, global diversity, equity and inclusion, and overall company culture. Her 15 years of experience expands to HR in the US, Latin America, and the Caribbean in the hospitality and healthcare industry. She enjoys coaching others to invest in themselves and further their growth with their leadership skills in corporate, nonprofit, and government sectors. As a contributing author and founder of Latinas Rising Up in HR, she is focused on building a community that openly shares connections, best practices, and experiences while also giving back to the youth. Priscilla holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration with a concentration in marketing, yay for marketing, from Urbana of Illinois, Champaign, Illinois. Outside of her work, she's an active board member and secretary of ACE Mujeres de ACE Chicago, membership director of the Latina Alumni Association for University of Illinois, an inspiration agent for Young Latina Day, member of the HR Hotspot, Society of Human Resources Management, also known as SHRM in the industry, the National Hispanic Corporate Council, NHCC, and the Latinista. She enjoys traveling to new cities with her husband, Jorge, and soaking up the sun in warmer cities. Please raise your hand, raise your glass to welcome the visionary behind Latinas Raising Up in HR, Priscilla Guaso.
Hi, Jackie. Thank you so much for that warm, and beautiful introduction. I'm so excited to be here with everyone.
I promised you that I was going to share a surprise that just arrived to my door 2 or 10 minutes ago now. And this very special surprise is something that happens once in a lifetime, especially for your first book. And that is receiving the first official galley copy of your book, which I just received. And it is my pleasure, my honor, and with great excitement that I hold your very first book that says not for resale, which means is the most precious copy because it's the very first one that ever existed. And all of the amazing authors are on the back of the cover. And for the first time, a human being is holding it. And I have the pleasure of doing that. And of course, Priscilla, you're going to get this, but I wanted to make sure to show this amazing surprise to all of you. Thank you so much for your trust in guiding you through this incredible process. I am extremely proud of you. And I know this is the beginning of something amazing. And before I leave, before I take off, a lot of you might know that I fly planes as a pilot. We need to take off on Pilotina to have this moment saved up in our beautiful magic. And I'll take off so that you can take over this amazing celebration. So
wonderful. Thank you, Jackie.
Pilotina. Thank you, everyone.
Jackie, I'm so extremely grateful to Fig Factor Media for believing in me and the impact that these 20 inspiring stories will have on our readers of any background, any age. Yes, we are all Latinas, but our stories resonate with so many people. So you may ask, why did I even jump into this? Why did 19 of us all do this together? And we really just wanted to build a space where Latinas and human really could share the keys of their knowledge, open doors for others, young and wise. In my 15 years of my career within human resources, I've worked really hard, but I've been very blessed to have the support of my husband, family, friends, mentors, sponsors, the list could go on and on. And I was moving up the ladder pretty quickly in corporate America. I was connecting with amazing organizations like ASE and with NHCC and educating myself more of what it took to move into these roles. But later on did I realize I was quite the exception. There's less representation of Latinas and women at the table, unfortunately. And studies that you'll see from ASER, Catalyst, and even just in the 2019 report from the Latino Corporate Directors Association, they shared that there's only 2.7% of board seats that are held by Latinos, and less than 1% are Latinas, which honestly is unacceptable for me. And if you keep continuing and looking at the data, 1% of Latinas report directly to CEOs, 2% of Latinas report 2 levels to the CEO, and 3% are of Latinas that are reporting 3 levels to CEOs. So it stirred something in me, right? And my career's not over. I still have a lot to do. But I wanted to take a pause, especially since we have a Hispanic population of over 60.6 million. And that moment came when I was that 2% of Latinas reporting to a CEO. And while I wanted so hard to continue my career, I hit some pretty personal things that happened that you'll actually have to read the book to find out. But it really hit a couple of my pillars, my important pillars, which is my mental, physical, and spiritual health. So that inner spark that was brought into me by so many was fading, and that spark that I have is fading pretty fast, unfortunately. But this past March, after an amazing trip I took to El Salvador, I refocused and gave myself permission to pause. And through, again, all these ladies you're going to hear from today, and one special individual that has championed my career, and whether I worked for him or not, you'll notice that there's so much that you can achieve. And they believed in this vision. They believed in why we're here today. And they believe that Latinas can continue to rise up in human resources. So my hope is that through these stories, you'll see what holistic leadership looks like. They're authentic and very real stories, and they're using it to inspire a new wave of Latina leadership into human resources. Healthy organizations have a healthy HR department. We are that beating heart in an organization, and we're strategic. We're focused on our employees and the organization, coaching leaders to influence positive cultures. And yes, we're managing through conflict. But again, with that all said, to open doors, we've decided as a group to put partial proceeds of this book to finance 2 scholarships. One, Latina students rising up to be in HR, and a second one, Latina professionals rising up in HR. We encourage you to listen to our stories, to go on www.latinasrisingupinhumanresourcesinhr.com. Encourage you to buy a book from us, so that way you can help us continue opening doors for others. And we will be awarding winners in February and of next year, and we can't wait. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce to you someone very special to me in my life. Like I said, it takes a village to get to where you are. And I have the honor of welcoming Sal Mendoza, VP of Diversity and Inclusion at NBC Universal. While you can read his bio on LinkedIn and see how impressive his background is, he's not only extremely knowledgeable in his expertise, but he's a leader that has opened doors for so many that have come across his path. Funny enough, many even in this group that you're speaking with today. He advocated for my growth in my career, which is why it was a no-brainer when I asked him if he would participate in writing the preface of my book. So please join me in welcoming Sal to the stage.
Wow, Priscilla, congratulations. Number one, I'm so proud of you. Quite frankly, it's been an amazing journey from, I don't think that I can say it was taking a chance when you showed up in my office unannounced, on register and security, calling me to say that there was somebody asking to meet with me. And since then, back then, we're talking about 15 years ago or so, I have appreciated that boldness that has, quite frankly, from early stages to where you are now, has transformed and driven you to that extent. So it's always a pleasure for me. I feel it's a privilege and an honor, quite frankly, when you ask me to do that. So of course, I will say yes, without a doubt, absolutely. If I may just say a few things, because I think it is important. There are 5, among many others, lessons that I have learned in having you as part of professional and personal life as well, right? Is that perseverance is a trait that you have, and I have learned that along the way, but we're talking about persistence, the boldness, the confidence, understanding that you belong in rooms as well is certainly something that I hope that it translates and it transforms through the writings on these books and the amazing stories that people are going to hear. But more importantly, I will say to everybody, congratulations to the other 20 contributors as well, because the reality is that your stories are my stories. I have always been an individual that supports everybody, but I must say that my personal and professional life has been shaped, quite frankly, I will say, by 5 very key women in my life. Obviously, my mother, without a doubt, but also my abuelita Nena, my abuelita Esther, who basically raised me, both of them, one in Honduras when I was living there, and the other one here in Chicago when I migrated to Chicago, and my wife and my daughter. So it is with tremendous love and tremendous admiration that I say to you, Priscilla, and the 20 contributors, congratulations. To Priscilla's point, many of them that I have crossed paths professionally, and as it turns out, through family as well, in this journey. So congratulations, thank you. And I'll be remiss if I don't say thank you to Jackie for your continue providing this platform to the community, in particular to Latinas, to be able to share these stories, to be able to empower other Latinas And without your engagement on it, without your participation in it, without your support, quite frankly, we're not looking to magnify these voices. So thank you for the platform. Thank you for magnifying the voices. And Priscilla, and to the contributors, I say, salud. I'm looking forward to your success. Gracias.
Ay, gracias, Sal. And thank you for believing in the potential of what this book and community could create. For everyone that's on the line here with us, enjoying this Saturday, thank you for taking the time. I want to let you know what's coming up and what to expect. During today's launch, we have 4 panels. I know, you're probably thinking, how? We have 4 amazing panels. We are sticking to time where they're going to talk with us, the authors, telling us briefly about their stories. And if anything resonates, please tweet us, Instagram us, Facebook us, give them encouragement, show them in the comments that they are doing amazing things. And we all need the encouragement regardless of what level we're at. So I ask that you become part of this community with us today. So to get started, let's welcome our first one of our 20 contributing authors and moderator of our first panel, Miriam Del Angel.
Gracias, Priscilla. As Priscilla said, my name is Miriam Del Angel, and I am an HR manager with over 20 years of HR experience. It means so much to me to be part of this book and share my story with all of you and hear other stories of Latinas in their HR journey. I remember when I was in college and I didn't know what I wanted to study until HR was introduced to me by a career counselor. As I learned more about HR and the importance of it in any organization, I was shocked that this field of study was not very prominent and was usually categorized as an administrator role. Though HR is offered and highlighted more and more in different universities, and the majority of organizations and companies have full HR departments, I believe this book can help those who are interested in pursuing HR and learning that there are so many facets to this field and also paths to get you to achieve an amazing HR career. Before we get started, I do want to announce our first 2 raffle winners, Becky Rocco and Joana Cervantes. Felicidades. We hope you will enjoy reading all our stories and it will help you in your career growth. Now let's meet a few of our amazing authors. Naisa Aparicio Hernandez, VP of HR, Katie Lopez, HR anthropologist, Isabel Montes, Human Resources and Learning Director, Karina Pro, Senior Director of HR. Welcome, ladies. Our theme of this panel is rising up personally to achieve professional success. For me, networking opened many opportunities. It took a lot of confidence for me to walk into a room and initiate conversations with individuals who I'd never met before, especially in the beginning of my career, where I didn't even have the experience nor the education that many others have already achieved. But I knew that I had a voice, and I needed to use it to learn more and to get to the next level in my career. So I worked at it and have met amazing people along the way. Then life happened. I started my family, and believe it or not, at one point I had 3 kids under 5 years old. Then I realized that my priorities had to change, and with that, I declined roles that required too much travel or had greater responsibility that would have had the expectation of working insane hours. But I took advantage of that time by really honing in on my HR skill set and creating new relationships with people who have worked at companies I was interested in when I was ready to climb that career ladder again. And I also enjoyed the time with my 3 amazing kids. They are my world. Sometimes we work hard to achieve certain things only for life not to go according to our plans. But you change your priorities, you reinvent yourself, and you push forward and you utilize your network. Remember, every organization or any company has some sort of an HR function. So we are definitely needed. And there are so many opportunities out there. You just need to go and find them and use your voice. Naisa, can you share how you rose up personally to achieve professional success?
Of course. Thank you, Miriam. That was a nice story. I'm grateful and honored to be part of this panel in this book. My name is Naisa Aparicio Hernandez. I'm a Vice President of Human Resources with more than 20 years of experience. To answer your question, Miriam, I knew that I wanted to be in HR since I was 17 years old. I went to college. I graduated from college with an HR bachelor degree. And by age of 24, I was already HR manager in my country, Venezuela. I thought that I had a successful profession in my country at that time. But then my husband, which is an IT professional, got an offer in Chicago. And just like that, we moved to US. So suddenly I found myself in a country that everything was different, right? A different language, culture, traditions. And then from having a support group in my country of family and friends, I found myself with my husband and my 5-year-old son. That's it. And then on top of that, people were telling me that I would never find a job in HR in US because I was a Hispanic woman with a broken English. So a lot of people told me you need to start over and change careers and start from zero. So that's what I did. I start from zero, but I start from zero in HR, which was what I loved and what I wanted to do since I was a teenager. So many years passed. It wasn't easy. I found a lot of obstacles and challenges, but the worst of them was to be diagnosed with a horrible disability medical condition at the age of 30. Devastating news. I have to pause myself and think what I'm gonna do now. I was HR generalist at the time, and I was pursuing an HR manager position in the company that I was working for. But to be honest with you, I have this voice telling me, you have to keep going. There's no way you're gonna go back. I thought, I'm gonna let this condition to define who I am and define my professional, personal life. There's no way. So I kept going. And since that, I've been HR manager, regional HR manager, HR director, and now I'm VP of HR. And on top of that, I got my senior in human resources management certification that for the longest time was the only certification in the United States. I have found beautiful, great people in my path. My husband, Ivan, my children, Chris and Sophia, and many mentors, bosses, co-workers, friends, and even organizations. I have felt included, respected, listened, and for that, I'm very, very grateful. And it didn't matter that I was a Hispanic woman with a very, very broken English and an accent. So I think that my positive approach and my positive attitude was what has helped me to be what I am. And if I can give you, all of you, an advice, stay positive, focus on your dreams, and keep going. And you, Katie, what is your experience?
Thank you, Nisa. You have such a beautiful story. Hello, my name is Katie Lopez. I am an HR anthropologist. For those of you who are not familiar with the concept of anthropology, it's the study of understanding the commonalities and differences amongst human populations, human tribes. As anthropologists, we observe groups where we focus on understanding how the systems within those groups and the relationships in those groups drive them to coexist together. And so my foundation in anthropology is extremely beneficial in the HR field, where leaders of the HR departments have to not only understand, but navigate and communicate with diverse populations. So for the question of how I rose up personally, it began the moment I moved out to attend college. I'm a first-generation Latina to have graduated college in my family. And I confronted many fears in the beginning of imposter syndrome when I questioned if I deserved to be in college while working full-time because scholarships couldn't cover all the costs I incurred at the time. And so learning how to navigate the negativity that manifested from the insecurities prevented me from some time in recognizing the potential of opportunities that I deserved because I focused so much on the scary feelings of navigating new waters for not just myself, but for my family. And it's a heavy weight to carry. For me, that's what complicated the aspect of just navigating academia, finding financial resources to keep college going, and at the same time, learning how to create a support system in a new space, because the support I needed to thrive in college and to eventually be able to have a successful professional career, I needed that outside of my family. I needed to figure out where the resources were. So learning how to address and break down those barriers helped me create my own opportunities where eventually I was able to achieve my own professional success. I learned how to tap into my network at that time. And so I had a sorority sister from Sigma Pi Alpha who helped me get an interview at a financial institution when nobody was calling me back for interviews. I got my foot in the door into an industry, got started, I was doing great, and people started recognizing who I was because I had a positive attitude. I wanted to get involved, wanted to help out. I was bilingual. Everybody needs somebody that talks Spanish. And it was easy for me to follow a path that others were laying out for me. But it wasn't until I actually met another Latina in HR who worked in corporate training at the time that I actually discovered a career path that intrigued me, that seemed interesting. And so she and I met. She's the one that inspired me to pursue a career in HR. And with her valuable advice, which you'll have to read in the book about, it's actually what helped me change the course from a professional path that others were guiding me on to a path that I was dreaming about. And so that's why you'll see me now branding myself more as an HR anthropologist. It's a title that's not common out there, but I am determined to continue leading down in HR as a Latina leader. And I'll continue documenting my experiences, not just in the book, but also in my own personal blog, Latina in HR, so that I can help encourage other Latinx folks who are interested in pursuing a career path in HR, because we need you. Isabel, why don't you tell us a little bit about you? How did you achieve professional success?
Thank you, Katie, and thank you for educating us on HR anthropology. That's super interesting. My name is Isabel Montes. I am originally from Colombia. I have been in the US for the last 20 years. And today, I am the HR and Learning Director for Starbucks, Latin America and the Caribbean. I love what I do. I am the mother of two amazing little kids, Gabriel and Nicola, and the wife of an amazing man, Emmanuel. And when I reflect about what has been my unlock, I can think of anything different than the moment when I found my purpose. When I was able to articulate clearly why I was here. When I felt that everything inside me could vibrate because of that clarity. Knowing my purpose allowed me to have three big components of my life, like crystal clear. One was my values. What do I want to stand for? What is negotiable? What is non-negotiable? What is that is worth for me to put my energy against? And with that, I was able to really understand where my passions are. The second point was around clarity. Somebody was mentioning that it takes a village, and it definitely does. I, like many of you, have been very fortunate of having amazing leaders opening doors for me, believing in what I am capable of doing. And today I feel that after finding my purpose and having that clarity, I can renew my energy about what's next in my career. And although I continue to be doing what I do, I also feel and think that it's time for me to do more. And that means to open doors for others, to pay forward. The third point that finding my purpose helped me was to be very focused. Now that I have that clarity, I can't waste any time. I can't spend any energy around something that is not to honor my purpose. That's my inner strength. It's a strength that helps me to quiet the outer world, and especially helps me to quiet myself sometimes when that inner critic gets to me and tells me things that told me for years, right? That I am not American enough, I have a heavy accent, I am not smart enough. Now with that purpose, like I am very capable of saying, okay, well, yes, thank you, but not right now. So that has been amazing. So what I will say is that's an advice about how to be able to really take off and be able to rise up in your career. It's to make sure that you find your purpose. And if you have a job that can support that purpose, that's a blessing. And that's something that I was able to find in human resources. So find your purpose, and unlock your full potential. And with that, I just wonder what Karina Pro thinks about this topic.
An awesome topic, right? Again, like as mentioned, my name is Karina Pro, and I'm the Senior Director of HR. I have about 7 years of experience in the field. How do you rise up to achieve that professional success? And it's by embracing your trauma, your detours and change. You know, embracing trauma and detours offers an opportunity to test your grit. Just when you think all is good, you are faced with a challenge. Life's experiences bring people into your life for a purpose. The job of my dream was to become an attorney. I planned my life to make that dream come true. What I didn't plan was how to deal with challenges and traumas that you encounter in life. You know, dealing with losing a parent due to immigration policies and losing it all during the housing crisis makes you adjust and take different paths. Everything that occurs in your life happens for a reason, from who you meet to the job that you're currently in and the challenges that are thrown at you and you're currently facing. I never thought I'd be in HR. Life took me through different detours and I fell into the HR world. You rise up professionally and personally by the actions that you take. You know, what did you do with that challenge? You know, what did you learn? Did you shut down? Or did you learn something from your challenge and traumatic experience? We all have these challenges. The difference is, what do you do with it? So often in life, things that you regard as an impediment turn out to be great or good fortune. Having professional and life mentors are necessary. My first mentor was in high school. She was the first person to plant that seed about going to college. You know, she pushed me to break the old-fashioned traditions of oldest needing to take care of the family. My next mentor was the first Latina that I met who is an attorney. I met her and I was stargazed, you know, because she was a daughter of parents who migrated to the US, just as my parents had migrated to the US. I saw her and I said, wow, it can be done. Everything that they're telling me is true. It isn't a lie. You can actually do this. The qualities that I sought out for a mentor was, where did I see myself in the next 10 years? You know, how did they get there? You know, how did I relate to them? Such as the mentors that I just mentioned, they're Latinas and they were educated. They went to college and they achieved a Juris Doctorate. So it was very possible to obtain. It was important for me to have a mentor because they have a wealth of wisdom. You have to talk to your mentors and ask questions to guide you where you want to be. You can easily lose focus when you're faced with a challenge or traumatic experience. They are there to guide you and encourage you and to push you to that limit. And with that being said, back to Miriam.
Thank you so much, ladies, for sharing a sneak peek of your stories. It's wonderful. I now want to introduce Janine Ting Jansen, Director People Partner, who will guide us through our next panel of amazing authors. Janine?
Great. Thank you, Miriam. My name is Janine Ting Jansen, and I'm here with all of our powerful Latinas and here to bring us into our next panel. I am the first to go to college in my family, a mom of 2 boys and a girl, currently 8 years and younger, and a wife, a daughter, and very proud to be here today on this call with everyone. I have followed opportunities in my career that have led to over 14 years of experience in corporate America and HR. I frequently raise my hand to support our youth with educational access, career advice, and interview tips to support their futures. I'm thrilled to be here with you today and all of you to celebrate our stories that we have and what they represent for our community. An opportunity, an open door, and a powerful say of being here at this table. Now, before I begin with our stories, I'd like to announce the next 2 raffle winners from those registered. Allow me to congratulate Christina Torres and Bill Dial. Congratulations. Now, I'll be joined by my fellow authors to review our topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Allow me to welcome Monica Tanner, Corporate Social Responsibility Strategist, Fran Phillips, Engagement, Diversity, and Inclusion Leader, Pamela Berga, Diversity and Inclusion Leader, and Griselda Rodriguez, Benefits Director. Welcome. Our panel is about skin-deep issues that have affected us all differently, influenced the way we view our careers, our companies, networks, and families. We will be sharing brief snippets of our stories, but also why we are present here today, why this continues to be an important conversation to have in order for us to influence change. For me, I'm a third-generation American having ancestry from both China and Mexico. I'm the daughter of a New York City fireman, a granddaughter of immigrants, and I bring my full self to work. Doing so is complicated. In my role, I have frequently encountered the question of where are you from? And every time I hear it, I question the intent of the individual asking. I'm proud to be a native New Yorker who is 100% American, but also represent the ancestry of my grandparents. These cultural influences have developed me to be the professional I am today, and I am extremely proud of it. I remember not knowing how to apply to college. I remember listening to my dad when he said, "Don't believe everything you read." My mother to pay attention to school. And I sit here about to finish additional graduate work from Cornell. I'm beyond proud to say I'm both a college graduate and the recipient of a master's degree. My story addresses racial microaggressions, imposter syndrome, and the reality I live in when encountering them. As you read, you will hear my struggle to access a higher education, my journey to motherhood, stories of my experiences with corporate America. These are vivid moments in my life, speaking to the feelings of uncertainty that gave way to powerful moments of recognition, leading to a unique experience that's really crafted my career to be gritty and to continue to persist. I hope my story inspires you to never give up on an education, your career aspirations, and any obstacles in your way. Use them to strengthen your resolve, and I hope you join us in eliminating barriers for our community, for our youth. I particularly want to thank my mentor, my family, my network for supporting me in becoming the person I am today, as well as all the fabulous ladies and Priscilla for this opportunity. I'm joined by my fellow panelists who will also be reviewing their pieces. And first, I'd like to welcome Pamela Berga, again, diversity and inclusion leader. She will be sharing her viewpoint from the desk of where she wrote her college essay and how she currently navigates her new normal while leading diversity and inclusion strategy at Tesla. Welcome, Pamela.
Thank you so much, Janine. I'm so excited to be here with you today. When I first spoke with Priscilla about this opportunity, I was thrilled, but I was also contemplative about what I should put in my story. And as I let stream of thought flow, I wound up with a story to share with you that is a retrospective on my career in HR, yes, but also very rooted in this unique moment in time that we are living in during this pandemic. I grew up in an under-resourced suburb of Los Angeles and have spent most of my life sprinting from academic goals to career planning to graduate school to climbing now the corporate ladder. And it's taken me around the world. But in an interesting turn of events, I'm now finding myself back at home, back where things started. And as Janine mentioned, I'm sitting at the same desk where I wrote a lot of my high school essays. The difference is the circumstances in 2020 have really forced me to shift from this sprinting pace to now one of a marathon. 2 weeks into a job that I absolutely love and new in this summer, I discovered a major family illness that, needless to say, has been all the more challenging amid a pandemic, a political war, and in California where we've had wildfires and I've had to wake up to ashes on my car and unable to take my daily walks outside. So it's been quite challenging, and nothing can formally teach you how to deal with something like this. So it's been a reminder that I have to recline on life lessons and piece them together to charge forward. And I want to share with you one today. You don't have to do it alone. I heard someone say that in a panel, and it's just really resonated with me over time because life can hand you these curveballs, and you may have blind spots as you're trying to figure out solutions. It speaks to the importance of having a personal board of directors that can help you navigate situations that are unfamiliar to you, whether that's at the workplace or at home. You have to draw from different points of expertise. Consider who's in your network for career planning, certainly, but also for your personal and mental well-being. Access to mental health resources is often stigmatized in communities of color, and we need to normalize that. Whether it's a therapist, meditation practitioners, your church community, whatever it may be, you need to make sure that they're part of your tribe, your village, so that they can help you charge forward in challenging times with resilience and with strength. I wish you all on the call the very best. HR offers an infinite world of possibilities for impact, to say the least. It's an opportunity for us in many ways to be gatekeepers, to help diversify the workforce so that it can be more representative of the world that we live in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pamela, for sharing and about sharing the importance of a personal board of directors and how we should all seek to build one and continue that throughout our careers. Allow me to welcome Monica, who will be joining us to guide on her difference and how that has supported her, her community, and how she interacts with others in corporate culture from two very different worlds. Welcome, Monica.
Thank you, Janine, and thank you, Priscilla, for allowing me to be a part of this amazing collection of stories. I'm so inspired. For me, my story was an opportunity to thank my mom, who, although she had less than a high school education, she really taught me the skills and perspective I needed to carve a successful path in corporate America. On paper, what you would have seen about my mom is that she was a disabled, immigrant, single parent in a small town in northern Michigan. She didn't exactly fit the mold. And for some people, being different can be a barrier or a crutch, but my mom saw opportunities in everything. So although we were poor and we lived in public housing and our car never worked, my mom figured out how to get me a scholarship to a private school when I was young. So I knew what it was like to experience the world beyond our home. And that skill, that ability to experience seemingly conflicting worlds and find the similarities between them, that's been the key to my entire career. Most of my career has been spent in corporate social responsibility, which is all about finding the intersections where there's value for business and there's also value for the communities that are directly and indirectly impacted by those businesses. And even this work, corporate social responsibility, it sits in many different places within business. Sometimes there's a formal function, sometimes there's not. Sometimes we work in HR, sometimes we're in corporate relations. But the one constant thing is, regardless of where we sit or how significant the resources are or aren't, anyone working in corporate social responsibility has to be able to draw from different perspectives, has to be able to ignore the barriers and focus on the opportunities. And that's the best gift my mom gave me. Because of her, I can walk into a community-based organization and understand the experiences of the people they're serving. And I can also walk into a corporate board and understand the experiences and the motivations of the people there. And most importantly, because of this ability to understand disparate experiences and motivations and needs, I can find spaces for shared value. And I owe it all to my mom. She passed away 4 years ago, but she did everything she could while she was here to teach me the importance of finding opportunities in the spaces where others don't or they can't. So hopefully by sharing my story in this book and sharing the story of my mom, I can be a little more like her and help other women find those opportunities too. Thanks.
Thank you, Monica. Thanks for sharing your superpower of identifying your values and the story of your mom and inspiring us all to continue to pursue. Thank you. I'll now be joined by Francesca Phillips. She's an engagement, diversity, and inclusion leader, and she's going to be describing to us her experience of living in 2 different countries and how she has adopted the philosophy that you should always learn from everything going on around you. Welcome, Fran.
Thank you for the intro, Janine, and thanks for the wonderful ladies that joined me in this panel. Thank you, Priscilla, for the opportunity. Thank you as well to all the viewers y por supuesto a mi familia y amigos que se han conectado hoy. Gracias, mami, papi. I'm a wife, a mom of 2 boys and a dog named Rabbit, and an abuela of a baby boy, and I consider myself a phenomenal woman. My story is a compilation of 10 different life lessons that have stuck with me throughout my 45 years of adventures in life. So far by navigating 2 cultures, Chilean and USanian. Yes, my friends, I've always been American, South American. Moving to the States at 25, being a flight attendant, and while I was in college and interpreting for foreign delegates and traveling with my family, gave me the tools to be ready to move to a different country. Living in the US, in Texas and Florida, have also given me new tools to help me thrive in this world and not only survive. So today there's 3 key lessons that I want to highlight from my chapter. And these are: be a lifelong learner, follow your curiosity, and say yes. For me, approaching life is a series of teachable moments is key. My dad always said, I can give you castles and riches, but the only thing that nobody can take away from you is your education. And I think it's not only instruction, but those lessons that you learn from living life to the fullest. I think that's where my growth mindset comes from. You're constantly learning and evolving. So look at every situation as a learning opportunity. I'm also a true believer of following your curiosity. And this has led me on my exciting journey full of possibilities. This curiosity is the one that keeps you engaged on the things that you decide to do. Do things when you want to get them done and get things done your way. Many of us put deadlines on when we should get married, when we should have children, when we should get promoted. And I think that following our compass is much more important than following that clock. And the third key lesson I want to share today is saying yes. This motto has led me to this 15 years in HR, saying yes to things that make sense to me, things that I will enjoy, things that contribute to my growth and align with my values. Your world will be open to so many possibilities when you're open to new opportunities. Like a wonderful sponsor once said to me, you need to learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And one last thing I want to leave you with is the importance of having a tribe of friends and family that believe in you and cheer you on. As you will see in my chapter, my mom always said I could do anything, and she was right. I survived that weekend, but Tiffy didn't. So now you'll have to get the book to know what happened. Thank you, Janine.
Thank you, Fran, and thank you for being in the tribe with all of us as we continue to expand. I think her advice on growth mindset, following her curiosity, and saying yes, they're all wonderful things we should take away and add to our toolkit of things we will pursue. So thank you so much. Next, we will have Griselda Rodriguez. She's a benefits director and member of the D&I Council at KEHE Distributors. She's going to share her story about navigating school, working full-time, and being a mother while navigating corporate culture, and how that still influences her today. Thank you, Gris.
Thank you, Janine. What an incredible day for everyone on this call. It's truly an honor to be here today with everyone. The path to corporate America was a little different for me. At 24, I was recently divorced and I had a 6-year-old son who depended on me. I didn't really have a clear path in sight and found myself asking, what am I going to do to become independent and be able to provide a good life for my son and provide him with better opportunities that I had? With the limited education I had, I was not going to be able to get very far. So after lots of thought and consideration, I made the decision to go back to school. My challenge was that I couldn't really take a break from working to focus on school. I needed every single dollar I was getting from my job so that I could pay bills and put food on the table. I continued working full time during the day, and then I went to school during night. And then I tried to do a good job in between of parenting. It was very challenging, to say the least. There was a lot of sleepless nights, and that time in my life was really a blur. With a lot of help from my mother, who cared for my son while I was trying to accomplish all of this, I finally completed school and I was able to earn a degree and enter into corporate America. Why do I share this with you? I know there's someone out there right now, this moment, stuck, feeling that they're in a difficult situation, thinking that they will never be able to make it because they don't have the resources, they don't have help or opportunities. I'm here to tell you, yes, you can. Set your mind on the target, work hard, and don't lose focus. You will make it. I believe in you. And when you have reached that goal, set another one and start all over again. Once I entered corporate America, my thoughts were, I made it. But then I faced new struggles there too. I worked in a warehouse in an HR role where I hired, coached, and developed employees who were predominantly Hispanic, and I felt really at home. But our leadership lacked diversity, and it made me wonder if I would grow in this company and whether or not I would fit in. I went right back to the practices that got me to where I was. I work harder than the next person because my mom taught me to be the hardest person in the room, the hardest worker in the room, because I wanted to prove that I deserved to be there. I was fortunate enough to find a mentor who taught me valuable lessons. He happened to be my boss too. But finding a mentor doesn't always happen this way. Search for people who can be your mentors. It's your job to seek them out. Don't sit and wait for this to happen. Go find your group of advisors, the group of support. Also understand that with time, that group of people is going to change, or you're going to add more people to that group. Focus on the good that people share with you. And then the rest you can disregard. I want to take a moment to say thank you to my parents, my mom and dad, my family, my friends, and my Keiki family for all your support today. And always, I love you guys. Back to you, Janine. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. I can definitely sympathize with the opportunity we have to support each other as mothers, as a mom of young children, particularly this year where our community has been impacted by COVID and all the additional responsibilities we all are incurring this year. So let's support our moms where we have them and each other. And if you know our mom, tell them they're doing a great job. So I'll close with our panel is really just sharing our tips of finding a mentor, building that board of directors, utilizing that support system, asking for help with your families and have them back you up so that you can, be well and continue to success. Many of us have benefited from support, as you can hear in these areas, and we encourage all of you to pay it forward and join us in our community. Thank you all for sharing your stories. Thank you for listening. We have more to share, so please stay with us as we bring on our next panel and continue to reflect on our experiences and find opportunities to support anyone in this community. Allow me to introduce to you our next moderator, Luz, who is a manager business partner on the next panel for Keeping It Real.
Thank you, Janine. As mentioned, I am a manager business partner at CDW, who is essentially an IT and services solution provider. Many thanks to my colleagues from CDW, my family and friends who are watching us today. Thank you all so much for being here. Before I get started, I would also like to announce two more book winners, Maribel Reid-Stan and Erica Taddeo. Congratulations, you are next winners of the book. And as I welcome our next authors, I really like to reflect on how this experience has personally impacted me. As a Latina woman who shares many of the struggles we face in this country, all varying in experiences, outcomes, and complexity, I now more than ever feel a great sense of duty and responsibility to ensure that we increase our Latino representation in this country, not just through our lenses and in our communities, but just really through the United States at large. And by doing this, we promote rich stories. Because it is in our fight together that we can start to really close the gap in disparities as we inspire others just like us to continue the fight and to really gear towards equality. I am privileged to be part of this movement and to have the ability to share my story and to hopefully serve as an example to those who have similar struggles through their journeys, whether it's adapting in a different country, trying to climb up the corporate ladder, or simply just wanting to make things happen. I really encourage you all today to take charge of your life and your career and do not let anyone else be a detractor to your success. Here with me, I have a panel of wonderful Latina women, and it has been really a pleasure to get to know each one of you. And through their stories, I think they can inspire many of us to really take a bit more care for our self-care. Joining me today, I'd like to welcome Susana Mota, HR business partner, Karina Jimenez, Regional HR Manager, Mercedes Jaime, Supplier Diversity Professional, and Edith Pacheco, Benefits Manager. Welcome, ladies. As an HR professional for over 14 years, I have seen and experienced a lot of personal change. And through it all, the most important lesson I've learned is to be vulnerable and to allow my authenticity to really shine in order to continue to be successful. In this profession, day in and day out, we're expected to flex, to change, to just execute. But very often we forget about us as women, as individuals, as Latinas, as mothers. I mean, the list really goes on. As we continue to share some of the highlights of our stories, I think we all agree that through our journeys, we've all learned a lot about the importance of taking care of oneself. We hear the phrase, there is no HR for HR, and that really does stand true today. We give 1,000% of our time to essentially everyone else but ourselves. And so we forget how to take care of us. One question that we really want to address today is, at what moment did we realize that it was time to really let our guard down, allowing ourselves to unapologetically be selfish with our time for our own self-care? Let's start with you, Susana.
Thank you, Luz. Saludos a todos. First and foremost, thank you all for taking the time to be here today to support the launching of the book, which is definitely a first of its kind. As Luz mentioned, my name is Susana Mota. In my most recent position, I was a corporate HR business partner for a hotel management company, to which I absolutely loved. Unfortunately, I, along with many of my peers, were impacted by COVID-19 and were let go from our position with the company. I am part of the decline of 21% of Hispanic women, higher than any other group, who lost their jobs as a result of the pandemic. Therefore, I'm looking. I am also a proud mother of a very, 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 very active, almost 2-year-old Latina, Mexican-American, first-generation college student, and extremely happy to be here celebrating with other Latinas. Luz posed the question, at what moment did I realize it was time to let my guard down, allowing myself to unapologetically be more selfish with my time and self-care? I was never comfortable with asking for help, and for myself, especially because I was always taught to be grateful for what I had, to be humble, and in my mind and experience, there was always someone going through something far more worse than me. While yes, that may be true, it's not the right mindset, especially while I was preaching to others the importance of self-care and helping to care for others all the time. I'm a giver, and it definitely took some time. But while being in the hotel management job, as an HR leader, I realized that my previous positions helped mold me to become the HR leader that I am today. I did not always know that I wanted to be in the HR field. However, I knew that I wanted to be in a position that I can help others and continue to give back. Unbeknownst to me, that is exactly what I got when I found my role in HR. Prior to that, I was in nonprofit, social services, behavioral health, in positions where I can give back. It was at that point in my career, while working in behavioral health, that I was forced and learned to implement my very own self-care and holding myself accountable to do the exact same thing. I would sit in meetings with youth, teenagers overcoming experiences or had very similar experiences as myself. And I would set them up professionally, to overcome these and reach their goals. It could be overwhelming at times to sit and hold a straight face and guide them professionally, but then sit back and question to myself, why was I not following my own advice? It took a breaking point and the right support system in my life to seek out the professional help that I needed. As much as I tried to cover it up with a smiling face, my body and just surroundings were yelling at me for help. I was pushing those closest to me away, and I needed that wake-up call. I wish I had reached out and asked for help a lot sooner, but essentially I'm very fortunate that I was able to receive the help that I did. Asking for help and taking care of yourself does not make you less of an individual, as I thought. You have to be selfish in life because at the end of the day, you are the only one who will truly advocate for yourself. No matter what that self-care looks like, whether it's going for a walk, listening to music, spending time with your kids, your family, as it varies from each person to person, you are the one who knows what it takes to take care of yourself, and you have to schedule that time to do so. There is no mañana. Mañana nunca viene, like my dad always says. And today is the time, right now is the time to take care of yourself. Even more so now as a mother and a more experienced professional, I know that I can't be sorry for taking care of myself. We have all heard when we're ready to take off on a plane and the flight attendants tell us in case of an emergency, we have to put the mask over our face prior to the children. The same goes for us. How are we able to help take care of others, especially in our HR field, if we can't help ourselves? Especially now that we're faced with a pandemic and a new normal, we must adapt and be selfish in our life and learn to take care of ourselves.
Thank you, Susana. As I mentioned previously, there's really no HR for HR. And so it is super important that we continue to have that support system to just, cheer us on and essentially encourage us to really get the help that we need. Because let's face it, with the amount of issues that we just deal with on a day-to-day basis, we also need that care. Mm-hmm. What does self-care mean to you, Karina?
So hi, everyone, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here with us. Your support is appreciated and it is truly felt. As Luz mentioned, my name is Karina Jimenez, and I am a regional HR manager for the Archdiocese of Chicago. I act as a first point of contact for all HR matters to over 60 parishes and schools. As an HR professional constantly on the go, I truly understand the need for self-care. To answer your question, Luz, I became more unapologetic and selfish with my time in terms of self-caring halfway through my tenure as an HR manager at a nonprofit I worked at. At that time, I was leading an HR team that serviced 2 high schools, 1 nonprofit, and a college. I was so consumed with being the best HR manager I could be without fully realizing that I was neglecting myself in that process, mentally, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually. I was overly stressed, always tired, always working, and on the verge of a complete burnout. As HR professionals, as many people have said, we often spend most of our time and energy on serving others, and I was just doing that, prioritizing work instead of prioritizing myself. I was stunting my own professional and personal growth because I was so consumed with work. When my anxiety started to flare up, I knew that it was time for a change. I suffered from an anxiety disorder. My anxiety manifests itself through many physical symptoms, which allows me to easily recognize when something is slightly off or really off by the intensity and frequency of my symptoms. With my symptoms being a prevalent constant in my daily life, I knew it was time for a change. I realized I was the only one in control and fully responsible for caring and catering to all my needs. I could only be my best professionally if I was at my best personally. So I became more intentional about carving out time for me. Self-care can look very different person to person. For me, it came about setting boundaries at work, actually taking some vacation time to disconnect from work, hanging out with my family and friends, indulging in some bad reality TV, amongst many other things. While we are creatures of habit, it's important to know how we practice self-care can also change. I'm a big-time city girl from Chicago who recently discovered a newfound love and appreciation for nature and nature walks. The Arboretum has become my sanctuary today. There's something about the sounds of nature, greenery, and the freshness in the air that really calms my mind and soothes my soul. I'm also learning that as I'm becoming older, I've become and continue to be more unapologetic as well as more intentional about understanding what my needs are. Constantly, I remind myself that I can only be the best wife, daughter, sister, friend, and HR professional if I am the best version of myself for myself first. Self-care truly contributes to self-love, and both are crucial for success. Thank you, Luz.
I love what you just said, right? It is all about self-love, something that sometimes I probably forget to just make sure that we're still really thinking about what's important for us, because that in the end is what helps our authenticity through work. What about you, Mercedes?
Muy buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a humbling experience to be here today. Thank you for joining us today to celebrate the launch of Latinas Rising Up in HR, a book that is truly a love of labor. A special shout out to my tribe of mujeres, women, sending big hugs and love to all of you. As Luz mentioned, my name is Mercedes Jaime. I am a mom, an entrepreneur, a business development, the founder of Enter Entra, Ideas Connecting Opportunities in the Supplier Diversity Industry. Like everyone else, I have commented, we all go through significant emotional events in our lives that pivot and change and help us transform us into our personal and professional growth. Those events are what I like to call the blessings in disguise, which help us grow as human beings. As a mother of 3 daughters, carving self-time has always been a very difficult task for me. As my children grew older, it became easier to give up some of my mommy time to self-time and begin taking care of myself so that in the future, I do not become a burden to my children. Today, thankfully, my daughters are young, independent women. There's the new mother, the new business entrepreneur, and the new adult. I have been very intentional about trying to be a good role model to my children by carving time to self-care and manage my time wisely. The best advice I ever received came actually from my mother 2 weeks before she passed away. She insisted that I transform my life from motherhood role to finding myself again. She said it was time to invest in myself, my health, my wealth, and economic and emotional well-being. I heard my mom's advice, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't listen until a few months after my mother passed away. I realized then exactly what she wanted me to do. It was at that moment that I realized, God, it was time to let my guard down, allowing myself to unapologetically be more selfish with my time and self-care. You see, Mom wanted me to live the life I had imagined for myself. After following, allowing a marriage, the role of a motherhood, and later the role of a single parent to absorb my being while overcoming a personal, significant emotional event in my personal life, with actually it did become a blessing in disguise that has led to many wonderful life blessings. So my daily goal today is to follow my bliss daily by doing the things I love, and I spend my time doing activities that will help me physically, emotionally, mentally, and financially, so that my children do not have to worry about my health, my wealth, or mental well-being in the future. Yes, I unapologetically follow my bliss daily by swimming at crazy hours of the day, at 4 o'clock in the morning. I know. And I also interact with the diverse tribe of men and women that mentor and inspire me daily to be the best version of myself. Through the years, I have invested in my network of amazing, diverse people from all walks of life and generations. So I have my tribe of NHCC Viejitas, as Priscilla and I call ourselves. My mom tribe, which we traveled to Europe last year. My tribe of friends that have traveled to me to Europe, and Cuba and other parts of the world. My Aqua blissfully tribe of mature ladies that mentor me daily on how to best grow healthier, younger, and gracefully. My tribe of sisterhood, my tribe of hermanas, my tribe of entrepreneur women, who I know are watching here, my tribe of MESA, which stands for mentoring, encouraging, supporting, and achieving. My tribe of advocate men like Sal Mendoza. And the list goes on and on and on. The key for me is to live the life blissfully daily and to create the life I have imagined one day at a time. My goal is to keep leading, creating, living, and following my bliss on the good days, on the bad days, but yes, especially on the ugly days of life. You often hear me ask my tribe of sisters or hermanas, amigas, are you following your bliss? So to all of you ladies, my new tribe of Latinas rising up in HR, I ask you this, are you following you today? So thank you, Luz. Thank you for asking the question.
Of course. And I think we're all going to hold ourselves accountable for living our best life through bliss. Thank you so much for sharing that. I can relate to so much in your story. And, it's amazing that we continue to highlight so many of the, phases in our lives that really push us to essentially really take care more of ourselves. How does that play out for you, Edith, in your story?
Buenas tardes and good afternoon. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Special shout out to my family who has always been there for me. And for Lucia, my niece, who is so excited on the launch of this book that I am a contributing author, to my son Josue, who's also an inspiration of mine. So thank you for celebrating the launch of Latinas Rising Up in HR. I'm grateful, honored to share this space with my friend and hermana Priscilla Guaso and all the ladies who are also contributing authors. My name is Edith Pacheco. I am a benefits manager for Hyatt Hotels Corporation. I have been with Hyatt for what seems like a lifetime, 23 years. And yes, I started right out of kindergarten to help out my family. In my current role, I oversee the administration of the company's retirement plan for over 100 US hotels with a dotted line to our global benefit plans. Similar to each one of these wonderful ladies on this panel, Luz, self-care was not always something I knew to do. It has been a journey to get to a point in my life where where I could let my guard down and be unapologetically me, and recognize that I also recognize that it will be an ongoing process. I actually used to think that making time for me was selfish and I needed to put others first. I think this stems from being Latina and a woman, especially in my Mexican culture. I'm Mexican American. I help my mom take care of my brothers and take care of the house. So we are taught to be caregivers at a young age and tend to our family, which I think is a great value, but it can be a struggle to set boundaries that are important to our self-care. I became a mom at a young age and shortly after walked into the job that would initiate my career in human resources, a field that is all about taking care of others. I share more in the book, so make sure to get your copy. But serving others is one of my greatest passions. And I realize that it requires to give a lot of myself. As Susana mentioned earlier, it is important to put on your oxygen mask before you can help someone else, even right if you're traveling with children. So that always resonates with me, is that it is important to take care of ourselves so that we can show up being the best version of ourselves for those that we care and we love for. As Karina mentioned, listening to our body and the cues that it gives us when we are on overload, when we are overwhelmed. I have too navigated through anxiety and physical ailments that impacted my well-being. And as Mercedes mentioned, it is also important to find routines that support your well-being. Taking the time to knowing what is it that you enjoy, what is it that centers you, that allows you to recharge and go back and serve others, right? As we do it day in and day out. But honestly, my holistic well-being, or that journey, started a little over 3 years ago when a young man in my household, my son Josue, he asked me to help him on his journey of physical transformation. What I didn't know is that that journey was going to turn into self-discovery, not only for him, but for myself, of self-love, and just what that truly means to take care of yourself. You know, he inspired me. I saw how he was working hard to better himself, and not only just physically, but I saw the changes in him and his confidence. And so I thought, you know, if my son can do this, why can't I? So I became very intentional in not just the physical and not just, right, because society is always telling us what we should look like, but it was truly realistic, like just truly being intentional, and it being holistic, something that would be a lifestyle and not just a fad. So it was a wonderful journey that we both embarked individually, of what it means to be emotionally well, physically well, to be spiritually well. You know, I have through the years have had wonderful people that have helped, therapists, but I also decided to grow my faith. And so with a combination of everything that matters and what I consider to be my values, I feel that I can be unapologetically me. I am comfortable in my skin. And I hope that sharing my story and sharing how important it is to take care of oneself, and it's not being selfish, that others take the opportunity to do the same for themselves.
Thank you, Edith. I think by now you can all see that self-care comes in many forms, shapes, and sizes, right? Ultimately, it is what is important to you and what drives you and motivates you to essentially move mountains. And so my message to you as we leave today, and I'm sure you're going to pick up a lot more themes as we go through the stories, and we hope that you pick up the book, is that you really take priority for yourself, for not just healing, but for also for nurturing yourself. And now I welcome to the virtual stage, Valerie Hope, who is a leadership coach and professional speaker. Valerie, welcome.
Hey, thank you so much, Luz. Wow, it's amazing to hear all these beautiful stories. Each of us, like a facets of a diamond. We all have our place to shine. Well, first of all, as Luz mentioned, I'm a leadership coach and speaker. And thank you to Priscilla Guaso. I can also add author to my titles. So thank you. All of us can. So appreciative of that. I've been in the HR world developing leaders for over 20 years now. So I'm so excited to be here with you. Now, you all have gotten a taste of all the wonderful contributions to this beautiful book. And we have 2 more people who have earned their free book. And right now, I'd like to announce Monica Garcia and Marcela Frascinelli. You have earned yourselves a free book. So congratulations to the 2 of you. So excited that you're going to have an opportunity to meet the stories of each one of us beautiful contributors in person. Now, with that said, this panel that we're going to be talking today is really about rising up professionally, specifically rewriting the plan and then growing our communities and our business. And for me personally, the model of that were my great-grandparents. My great-grandparents came from the Caribbean islands, Jamaica, Barbados. Actually had great-grandmother that was from Costa Rica. And they all immigrated to the Republic of Panama during the construction of the Panama Canal. And many of you know it was hard, right? This is in early 1900s, late 1800s, tough, back-breaking labor. My mom likes to talk about how my grandmother, growing up, being born and raised in Panama, she used to wash clothes for the residents of the canal, earning cents to the dollar every week. Again, back-breaking labor. But they just wanted to do the best they could for their kids. Now, when my mom and dad decided that they wanted to take my brothers and I and immigrate to the United States, I was 9 years old. And again, they made a choice, they made some sacrifices because they wanted a better life for us. And what was interesting is recently, as I was kind of discovering my own journey, my own story, I realized that all those sacrifices, all the back-breaking labor that my ancestors had were so that I could live my dream and my purpose even more fully. What's that? My purpose is to inspire and activate leaders to come alive. But I don't teach anything that I don't live. So I inherited from them that purpose. They had their own purpose. But I want to leave you all with this notion that every single generation gives us an opportunity. First of all, we earn the right to survive whatever we need to go through. But it's also our right to thrive. And I talk more about that in my story in the book. But I think each of us have our own personal journeys. We owe it to the next generation to figure out a way to thrive. And with that in mind, I'd like to introduce the rest of my panel here today. I'm so thrilled to be sharing this screen with them. First, I have Irma Reyes. Welcome, Irma. Irma is the Director of Human Resources, and each of them will add a little extra to their introduction as well. Sonia Lama. Sonia is a colleague experience director. And then finally, we have Stephanie Martinez, who's a CEO and founder of HR Designed for You. And each of them will be sharing not only a little extra information about who they are and where they're from, but also what they'd like for you all who will be getting this book to know about their journey and a piece of advice for each of you. Let's start off with you, Irma.
Thank you so much, Valerie, for the introduction, and what a beautiful story. And thank you, Priscilla, for the opportunity. I am Irma Reyes from New Haven, Connecticut. I've lived in Connecticut all of my life. I am Puerto Rican. My parents are from Aguada and Caguas, Puerto Rico. And speaking of my parents, I really wanted to just take a second to thank them for being my very first champions, right? Because they were in my thoughts throughout writing my story, as were my adult children, Stacia and Christian, and my husband of 20 years. So I am humbled. I'm humbled not only of being part of this amazing book, but also to be able to share a little bit about me personally and professionally, and what key lessons I would like the readers to take away from my story. And I will say that as a director of human resources for a nonprofit organization, I have what I believe is one of the most rewarding careers. And I will tell you, if you are living your passion, or you are someone that is looking to live in your truth, it is truly a great feeling to love what you do. And so the reason why my role in this role is so rewarding to me, first and foremost, is because as a leader, I get to serve the people in which I work with. And so I will say that again, I get to serve on a daily basis the people in which I work with, and that is leadership. And so secondly, to add to that is that I get to help make decisions around cultural recruitment, and I get to develop programs that will enhance diversity and inclusion in the workplace. And that is very important to me in my role today. And the book and my story actually will tell you what led up to this moment, and just the story and the bits and pieces that have led to where I am today. And so what I would like you to know is that for me, it took a lot of a variety of ups and downs and obstacles and learning lessons, and above all, my education, which my parents also told me that is something that no one could take away from you. But it also took a lot of hard work, and my journey hasn't finished. There's so much more that I need to do in this field. But if I can give you something to take away with, I will say to you is that there is an importance of being heard. You absolutely belong, and your voice does matter. So I would say take a leap of faith if you can, if the opportunity is there, and grab a mentor. We could all use a support system. And then lead with confidence. Absolutely lead your life with confidence. And so I will hope that you will read and share my story. And if it resonates with one person, if it makes a difference with one person, then I have done my job. And so I will turn it over to Sonia. Sonia, what is your story?
Hi, everyone. My name's Sonia. Thank you very much to Priscilla and all of you guys for taking the time today to hear about our wonderful stories. So rerouting the plan, wow. My name's Sonia Lamas. I am the Colleague Experience Director for Hyatt Hotels and Resorts. I've been with this wonderful organization for a little bit over 10 years. And not only have I rerouted my plan with Hyatt, but also in my personal life, as you'll get the opportunity to read about my story. I was actually born in the States, and I was 6 months old when we moved down to Mexico. And then when I was 6 years old, we came back to the States where I had to learn the language, adapt to the culture. I had very hardworking parents, and first generation to go to school and finish school. I also became a teen mom very early on in my teens, as you'll have the opportunity to learn when you read my story. But I didn't let that stop me from reaching my goals. I knew that I wanted to continue to make my family, my son, and the Latina community proud. So I was that one student that would take the diaper bag, the baby, the backpack, and get on the city bus to get to school to make sure that I would finish my education. So I finished high school along with other high schoolers, and walked on stage to obtain my high school degree with my then 3-year-old son. And I found myself in the hospitality industry, which I quickly fell in love with. I fell in love with this because I knew that I always wanted to help people out. People like my parents, very hardworking individuals. So as I mentioned before, during my career with Hyatt, I've had to take some left turns, right turns, and sometimes U-turns. And that's okay. That was my career path. That was my path. And no one's path is ever going to be a straight path. It's okay to make that left turn and learn different things as you're going through these different paths. I also found myself being unemployed with the downturn of the economy back in 2009. And as a single parent, it was very difficult to continue school so that I could take care of my then 14-year-old son that was like a garbage disposal and would eat everything in the refrigerator. So obviously, making sure that I had a steady income coming in to keep a roof over our heads was very important. So I found myself quitting school. But with the support of my son and the continued support of my then mentor, Rob Spooner, who was also my boss, I finally decided to go back to school and get my degree. And so in 2018, I received my degree in business management. And so in my story, you'll get to hear about the different left and right turns that I've made throughout my life. And so I hope that you take something from this story where it's okay to make those turns. Your priorities will change as life goes on. And so you will measure success very differently. Back then, I used to measure my success based on how the grades that my son would bring home. Now, as a soon going to be 25-year-old child of mine, which is still my baby, I measure success very differently in my career now. I measure success. I know that I had a successful day when I know that I had a good night's rest and I slept my 7-8 hours, and or that I spent some time in the gym taking care of myself. So it's okay to make those left and right turns. Don't give up. Stay on the course and keep focused. So that's my story. Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you so much, Sonia. Let's hear from Stephanie now.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Martinez. I'm the CEO and founder of HR Design for You, which is my own HR consulting company. A little bit about myself. I grew up on the south side of Chicago in Beverly. My nationality is quite a mixture of wonderful nationalities: El Salvadorian, Polish, German, and Czech. And I would have to say my parents, Margaret and Peter Martinez, trailblazed that multi-racial family back in the 60s before it was even acceptable. So way to go, Mom and Dad. When I started my journey, I was going for my bachelor's degree in industrial organizational psychology. I was a single mother of a young daughter, and I had to figure out, what was I going to do next? I wanted to make a better life for my daughter. I wanted to have a great career, but I needed to get, money, so I could support us. So I really wanted to focus directly on my goals. I had to be laser focused on my goals. What did I want to achieve? Where did I want to go? How did I want to end? And my focus really was around HR consulting. That's where I wanted to end up, but I knew I couldn't start there. So this journey wasn't easy. I'm not going to say it was a piece of cake. I had a lot of highs and lows. I can't even tell you how many, but I certainly didn't go it alone. I had my family, my faith, and my friends to support me along the way. And it meant so much to me that all of them were there. And over the past 20 years of my career, I was really building up that toolbox so that I could get into that type of career. So I worked in internal and HR, external HR roles. And when I really saw my career launch to that next level was when I started working with some phenomenal mentors. And like Griselda talked about, these people were my supervisors. They were managers that invested in me. They shared their knowledge. They took me to meetings. They shared their network with me, and I just soaked it all up. And they showed me that I could dream a bigger dream than I thought I could have for myself, which was becoming an HR leader. And like others have said, I just didn't think that was there for me because I was a single parent and I couldn't make that kind of commitment that some others had made. And so, now that I look back, I take that, time that those seasoned leaders gave to me, and I feel like it was my duty to pay it forward. And so I've taken time to serve on a board. I've run an at-risk youth program. I've also mentored other individuals who are trying to pursue a career in HR, as well as people trying to start their own business. And now I'm running my own HR consulting company, and I've been doing it for the past 2 years, which has been a phenomenal experience. And I've really seen what I'm capable of. And that was something that was really important to me. I mean, I really had to push myself to the limit because nobody else is going to do it for you. I work for myself. There's no one running finance, no one running marketing. I'm doing it all. So it's been a lot of fun. And as a consultant, I got to marry the two things that I love the most, which is solving problems and then helping people in their personal lives as well as their business and really making that impact for them. And I get to see the joy in my clients' faces when they start clicking and everything just starts moving in the right direction and they see that their organization is changing and growing. And that's something that I feel really proud that I'm a part of. So I'm really truly blessed that I'm able to pursue this at this stage in my life, because as a single parent, I never thought I'd be running my own business for sure. So if I can impart any advice onto anyone who's listening today, number one, I would say bet on yourself. You know, you are the game changer, no one else. And go after your goals like your life depends on it. Just drive, drive, drive. And keep moving because opportunities always come up. Never stand still. Don't let that get in your way. And surround yourself with smart, supportive individuals. Give back and leave any organization that you work for in a better state than it was before. So I want to thank you all for your time and your support, and I really hope you enjoyed the book.
Beautifully stated. Wow, I'm so excited. Irma and Sonia and Stephanie, I think the theme that I heard throughout all of you, your sharing is your generosity, your commitment to contribute to yourself and other people as well. I love that, you know, Irma, you kept saying, I get to serve, right? It's more like service as a privilege. And Sonia, for you, a lot of it had to do with being flexible and adaptable, you know, right turn, left turn, U-turns. Love that, really being unstoppable. And for you, Stephanie, I can also hear your commitment and ability to dream bigger than the limitations that circumstance or others, culture, the environment, the economy might place on us. So I'm so honored to be sharing this time with all of you all. I think Priscilla did a great job in putting us together. So I'm going to toss it back to Priscilla to close us out. Thank you all.
Great. Thank you so much, Valerie. Wow, I have goosebumps galore. This has been an amazing time. And Valerie, thank you for leading us through that last panel. As we bring everyone back on the stage, because we're going to have everyone join us here, I do want to say a huge congratulations to Mercedes, because her J2, her daughter, is having a big reveal today, a gender reveal, and she's here with us. And she just found out that they're having a baby boy. So congratulations. I had to throw that out because you're here with us, you're missing out, but hopefully you can go back and celebrate with them when we finish up here. So as I have everyone jump on, we are going to, I just ask everyone to share one word of inspiration with the audience. And we'll go ahead and turn it to you, Edith, to start us off.
Gratitude.
Yes.
Resilience.
Purpose.
Bold.
Perseverance.
Transcend.
Explore.
Create.
Joy.
Opportunity.
Network.
Positivity.
Scrappy.
Faith.
Strength.
Trust.
Great. Did we have everyone? Such beautiful words. All so powerful, as you can tell from just snippets of what we shared today. And my word would be believe. Believe that you can make a change, that and others will support you and bring others along with you. Now more than ever, your leadership is needed. Join organizations, as we heard, boards, let people know what your goals are. There's so many people out there that want to help you. And honestly, we couldn't be here where we are today without the amazing support of our marketing partners that got the word out there for the over 600 people online with us today. To our technology team, yes, Fig Factor Media, thank you for making this whole thing look beautiful. And honestly, to our audience, our family, our friends, our colleagues that are supporting us on the line, Gabby, Jackie, you don't see her, but Gabby's in the background and she has been leading us through this charge from day one. And honestly, I have to end with my family, my husband, my sister. Thank you, everyone. Please jump into latinasrisingupinhr.com. The book is available now. It's going to take about 2-3 weeks, but we'll be sending it with a beautiful note from the authors. Again, remember that your contribution will be part of 2 scholarships that we're putting together, so don't waste any time. And connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We've created a community just for us, for Latinas Rising Up in HR. If you're Latina, you're in HR, this is the time for us to connect, right? Look for us in Facebook. It's a closed group. Be sure you add your LinkedIn link in there so that we can just ensure we've got our HR people in place. And again, I just want to thank everyone that has been here today with us. My mom, my dad, my sisters, my in-laws, all my guasos, my Alvarados, everybody. I'm so thankful for this time together. Thank you for supporting Latinas Rising Up in HR, and we wish you all a wonderful and restful weekend. Thanks for joining us.